interest in this country.
Thank you, Deputy. Now, Deputy Luke Ming Flanagan, 3.5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. All of the discussion on this issue seems to be about just about the pay and how much it's costing us to pay people the amount that we're paying them. And we hear that civil servants in Ireland are paid more than they are in other countries, but we don't hear any of the other side of the debate. In the same way as there are two sides to a bank balance, there are two sides to this debate. And the side that isn't being discussed is, what have the government done to bring down the cost of living? It isn't that people in the civil or public service want to be millionaires, or it isn't that they want to have 4 or 5 holidays a year, or 2 holidays a year, or to drive around in big cars, really expensive cars. All they want is a decent quality of life. And at a meeting that the technical group had with the Troika, the whole issue of a news headline that had appeared at the time about how someone on €65,000 couldn't afford to survive in this country. And the lads and lassies from the Troika sort of found this extraordinary. And they spoke about how, the IMF guy actually spoke about how some of their top economists were earning 65,000 and they could survive on it. They could survive on it, not in Ireland, but they could survive on it outside Ireland. And the reason why is because it doesn't cost a fortune to live in many other of these countries where we're told that they get less pay as a civil or a public servant. And there is a reason for that. One of the reasons is for the reason why people can't afford to live here is because the government never did anything about people's debt. There was no real debt write-down, and the only way you can get it is if the bank is willing to give it to you under your Personal Insolvency Act. Of course, if you're independent news and media, you will, of course, get a write-down, €10 million. One particular owner of that institution got from a 99.9% owned Irish bank. You will get debt write-down then. But let's say you did this for the ordinary people. Then maybe they could actually survive on less. But you haven't actually done anything about that. You haven't done anything, as you promised, about the problems that we have of the cartelisation of Irish business.
1 minute remaining.
We were told by Fine Gael that you were going to do something about our absolutely useless competition authority. And you were going to properly resource it. Well, it hasn't been properly resourced. We still have only 2 guards to investigate problems with cartels around the country. And it's because of that that we have high prices in shops. It's because of that local authorities have to pay more money for raw materials, whether that be for building roads or for concrete or whatever. And because of that, the cost of living is massively high in this country. No proper accountability in local authorities. So rates are high. Money wasted left, right and centre. Businesses then have to pass on that cost to the consumer. Upward-only rent, the upward-only rent leases that were signed, that ye said ye would do something about. Nothing has been done about it, even though we do have a Labour TD, Michael McNamara, saying that really legally something could be done about it. You'd want to make up your mind because it's keeping prices up. And because of that, you need a small fortune to survive in this country. And you put the cart before the horse. You had 2.5 years to bring prices down. You didn't do it, and now you expect to get blood out of a stone. Won't work.
This government has absolutely no mandate for this draconian anti-trade union legislation. And it has no mandate for this outrageous attack on public sector workers. Indeed, it has no mandate for its austerity policies. Remember what they said during the general election. It's going to be Labour's way, not Frankfurt's way. The vulnerable are going to be protected. They were going to burn the bondholders. and there wasn't going to be another cent for the banks. The Labour Party has now finally and completely turned its back on its roots, has turned its back on its history, and of course has turned its back on its supporters. This bill is an outrageous piece of anti-trade union legislation.